Warning, the views and beliefs in the following program does not reflect the views of Boom Broadcasting. We give full creative control to our creators and do not believe in cancel culture. Now, guys, I know you're probably thinking that my content is not all that risque, and you're right. On the cool, I just like reading this because it's fun. But in the event that I do something absolutely stupid or say something off the wall, everyone here will be covered. But do remember this. This whole thing called cancel culture is an orchestrated plan by the man. And I know y'all miss Mr. Smith, the professor from QuickHits University, but he's had a stacked semester. But he will be back with more lessons, and that will be one of them. Viewer discretion is advised. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday, and that means another stacked episode of Quick Hits is coming at you. But before I begin that episode, I would like to say thank you to everybody that came out and watched the Tuesday and Friday episodes of Quick Hits. That was the first time that we've done that for this show. We didn't even tell you. We just popped up on a Tuesday and said, watch the show. And you did. 100+ views on Tuesday, and you made the Tuesday episode of Quick Hits the second most watched show on Boom Broadcasting that week. And I want to say thank you to everybody because you didn't have to do it. You could have easily just said no. You could have said we'd rather have you on Wednesday instead of Tuesday. You could have watched Dad and the Boys. I don't know why you would. But you could have watched something else. But you didn't. And I appreciate that. So thank you so much. And then the Friday episode, you came out for that. And I thank you for coming out on Friday. Love you guys. Thank you so much. But this week, if you watched any of the sports this past weekend, unfortunately, I didn't get to because I had to work. I didn't get to watch it live. But I recapped it, thankfully. And I was able to catch back up because this Tuesday's episode is going to be great. The sports week, the weekend was bananas. We had some great stuff happening everywhere. So in this episode, I'm going to be talking about the lamp-lighting, bone-crunching NHL action that we saw. The headlines were great. And I'm looking forward to those headlines to break them down with you. We also, Sunday alone was great. Sunday was awesome. We have a World Series picture that's being painted for us, and I have a treat for you for the baseball segment for today's show. And then Friday is going to be even better. Looking forward to that as well, too. And then Sunday as well, too, we have a new WNBA champion. Wonderful game. The season was great. I'll be talking about the season as well, too. But I got to talk about that championship game. I got to talk about that game 4 and game 5. As we break that down on this episode of Quick Hits, I'm looking forward to it. And of course, you get to have a big cup of Joe with the man, Podcast Smitty. So, without further ado, give me my theme music.
Can't fall off, now they holler he'll turn, thinking I'ma sell out, talking just to feel heard. I never listen, although they say it's strictly.
Welcome to Quick Hits. I'm your host, Shannon Smith, aka Podcast Smitty. If you're new to the show, what's good? I'm Shannon. I enjoy long walks on the beach, gardening, and poetry. Oh, sorry about that. Leave that for the hinge and for the tender. Forgot where I was at that time. Let me reintroduce myself. I'm Shannon. I'm a fan of sport, and this show is dedicated to analysis, highlights, hot takes. We're going to be talking about that on this show. A little bit of comic relief in there, so if you enjoy that, if you love a barrage of sports being analyzed, make sure you keep it locked right here because I love doing it. I enjoy it. I have another show coming on Friday to catch up and get you ready for the weekend. But in the between, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe not only to this show, but to the Boom Broadcasting YouTube channel and to the socials. We're on X, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. We might be getting to TikTok sometime. Who knows? But make sure that you do that, and make sure that you watch the other content creators. They have great shows. We cover a lot of sports, but we also cover stuff outside of sports. We have a TV and movie podcast. We also have a podcast that helps you cope with life as well, too, which comes on Saturdays. So make sure that you watch all the content. Make sure that you give my guys good reviews because they do a great job. But if you're one of my quick hitting brothers and sisters, ouch! Welcome back. Can't wait to break down this show, and we're going to go ahead and get it started. The WNBA Finals was nothing short of awesome. What a series it was. From the Minnesota Lynx epic comeback to forcing overtime and an eventual win in Game 1, which Game 1 felt like a Game 7 series anyway, from the decisive lead that the Liberty had to the Lynx cutting it in half to the Liberty having a 15-point lead, the Lynx forcing overtime, and Courtney Williams' heroics. That was a roller coaster ride within itself. Then, in Game 2, Breanna Stewart had the revenge game, which was great within itself. I knew we were in for a treat after that. Then it gets better. Game 3, Sabrina Ionescu shot the three from my bedroom to the target center and hit it and won the game. Then Game 4, Nafisa Collier shown why she was the Dubs Defensive Player of the Year and could have been the WNBA Finals MVP. Her offensive play and then her defensive play as well led the Lynx back into the series, tying it up 2-2 in a game that featured 14 lead changes and 13 ties. Probably one of the best basketball games in all of the year, in my opinion. Incredible basketball game that was. I saw this series going all 5 games. I didn't see a 3-1. I didn't see a sweep. I didn't see none of that. I did not. And of course, leading into Game 5, the headlines were there. Will the Liberty lose a second straight WNBA Finals? Will it be 6 trips and no chip for the Liberty? Will the Lynx get number 5 all time? Will it happen? Well, the Liberty answered that question with an overtime win to get the franchise its first WNBA championship after 5 unsuccessful tries. The 6th time was the charm. As the stars were out for that one, Rebecca Lobo and her beautiful smile were calling that game. Teresa Witherspoon, who hit that incredible shot when she was a player for the New York Liberty, they were there. There were so many people there watching that game. You know, Spike Lee getting his hits in when Nafisa Collier fouled out. It was an incredible game. It was a game and a half. And the series ended, and the WNBA season ended with that game. Now, my take on the game. This game was ugly offensively. Both teams did not shoot the way that they shot in the beginning. And of course, in a series like this, a grueling series like this, fatigue sets in. The New York Liberty, who are a wonderful 3-point shooting team, did not shoot well from 3. And it showed in that game, and it almost doomed them with Sabrina Ionescu not hitting a 3 all game. She was 1 for 19. And that's not good. So her talking about being a second team all WNBA, maybe that was the reason why, because there were some games where she did not exist. And this was a game where she did not exist. So, of course, the fatigue is there. This is a grueling game. That's no disrespect to Sabrina Ionescu. She played great this year. But fatigue sets in a long series such as this. Both the squads were feeling it. Another takeaway from this is Minnesota is a great defensive team. I love Nafisa Collier as a defender. I think she's the best defender in the WNBA. I know Asia Wilson had a lot of blocked shots in that game, but Nafisa Collier had a quiet season because Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, and Asia Wilson existed in this league, and it seemed like that was the only players that everyone was talking about, which kind of hurts because Nafisa Collier played exceptionally well this year. Great player, had a great playoff this year. She reminded me of Connor McDavid's playoff run this year. Connor McDavid played very, very well in the last season's playoffs in the NHL. Nafisa Collier had a wonderful playoff in the WNBA, just fell short of a championship. She was incredible in the playoffs this year. And so was Connor McDavid in this past NHL playoff as well. Just did not result in a ring. But this defensive team, this squad that the Minnesota Lynx is, they were a great defensive team. They defended better than anybody. There were times where they defended better than the Liberty. So hats off to them and their great defense. Nafisa Collier, Breanna Stewart, Asia Wilson are great leaders for their teams. They're vocal leaders for their teams, and they did great as leaders in this team. And of course, the finish was great. We got an extra 5 minutes of WNBA basketball to cap off one of the most phenomenal seasons in all of the WNBA this year. What a great way to finish it with an OT win. Now, speaking of OT, the play that sent the game into overtime was a controversial blocking foul called on the Minnesota Lynx when Breanna Stewart went up and made body-to-body contact. It was challenged by the WNBA referees. It was challenged by the refs. The refs did not overturn the call when they called it a foul. They didn't overturn it. Breanna Stewart goes to the line, sinks both free throws, and the game is sent into overtime. Now, Coach Reeve was vocal about how that should not have been a foul call. She was mad about it. She said that the WNBA's challenging of calls should be reviewed at season's end. She was clearly angry. Now, as someone who will never coach or never play in a big stage like this, especially not in the WNBA since I'm not a woman, I look at it in a different way. Of all the people to foul or to get fouled in that situation, Breanna Stewart was the right candidate. Breanna Stewart missed 2 big free throws prior to this play. 2 clutch free throws that could have ended the game in regulation, but it didn't happen. She gets fouled. You put her on the line and she sinks both of those free throws. Of all the people to put on the line, that's the one I want to put on because the pressure was tough on her and the lights got bright on her in the free throw line. And she has not had the best free throw shooting experience in the finals. She's an 84% free throw shooter this year, but yet she's missed some clutch free throws in this game. Of all the people to foul, her. I want to make sure of that. But I want to also post this right here. If she would have missed both those free throws, would Coach Reeve be feeling the same way about challenging and what was called had she missed both those free throws? I think she probably would have said something about it after they were celebrating the championship. Yeah. But the quote, the great NBA player and great Tar Heel Rasheed Wallace, the ball don't lie. So yes, coming big at the free throw line was something good for Stewie to get her confidence back into it. That sent the game in overtime. Now, just to show that I'm not a biased man because I don't have a dog in this fight. To be honest with you, there's not a WNBA team that I root for. I'm a big fan of this organization. They had a great year this year. I followed the WNBA years prior to this. I enjoyed it. The inception of the WNBA. I remember when the inception of the league was in 1997. I remembered it. I loved it. I enjoyed watching it. I've been a big follower of it. I don't have a team. I need to pick one, it seems like. But I'm not letting Coach Sandy B off the hook. She complained about officiating in Game 4 of the finals. Y'all, I know I'm not a coach. I know I'm not. But I want to look at all coaches. And I'm not talking about just the pros, the college coaches. I'm talking about if you coach T-ball, even if you coach T-ball. And this is a shout out to my coaching friends, my man O'Brien Brown, who coaches the Central Wilkes football team. His young squads, his youngsters that he's got. I'm talking about him. I'm talking about Coach Kyle Shanahan for my 49ers. Yes, sad day, losing to the Kansas City Chiefs yet again. I'm talking about all my coaches out there who coach anything, whatever it is. Don't look for these guys in stripes to bail you out. Yes, I know bad calls get made. I get it. I know bad calls get made. I do. But Coach Cheryl Reeve has won 4 WNBA championships in her career with the Minnesota Lynx. Yes, I understand. Get mad at calls. We're human beings. We get mad at things. Yes, we do. But at the end of the day, you got to rally those troops. You got to tell those girls, hey, listen. You got to tell those ladies, listen. Yeah, it was a bad call. Call was BS. I get it. But we got more basketball to play. And might I add, you had 5 more minutes of basketball to be played in an overtime game. It did not kill you. It did not lose you the game. You went into overtime. You had 5 more minutes to play. And you want to get on to one call? And you had 5 minutes to play? I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. If Minnesota would have won this championship right here, I'd have been like, heck yeah, way to go. They overcame adversity over a bad call. You're right. I get it. But when in the world are we going to stop blaming these zebras? Yeah, I called them zebras. I did. My bad. Sorry about that. But when are we going to stop blaming them? My man Tony Soto talked about in his fight. My man that I covered. Tony Soto said that's what happens when you leave it to the judges. My man took an L. But let me tell you what, he fought his tail off. He did incredibly well, and I love you for that, Soto. You should have won that fight. Yes, I believe it. But you know what, Soto, you're absolutely correct. Don't leave it to the judges. Obliterate the competition. Beat them. That's what you do. Yes. But all in all, great season, WNBA. Congratulations to the New York Liberty. Maybe next year I'll pick a team for the WNBA. Maybe I will. Who knows? Maybe I will. But I tell you what, it was great. I'm going to be coming with the wrap-up of the WNBA on Friday. I'll be coming with that wrap-up. This was a not-so-quick hit, but this is your WNBA quick hit for this day on Tuesday. On a Tuesday. With only 3 weeks into the NHL season, which is an 82-game season, it is way too early to be talking about who's contenders and who's the pretenders in the NHL. But that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to see who is in the running for Lord Stanley's Cup early and over 3 weeks as we get into it here. Some of these squads are surprise squads. Some of these squads are not so surprising. Now I'm going to go over the leaders of the subdivisions and then get into some squads that we might be wondering why they're having the troubles that they are. So, with my 4 leaders of the subdivision here, the Calgary Flames leading the Pacific Division here, 4-0-1. I like the trio of Jonathan Haberdeau, Martin Pospisil, and Anthony Mantha. Very fast squad. They love to score. So Calgary is a squad that likes to get up and down the ice and like to get back and score. Very good forechecking squad. So it's very, very fun watching the Calgary Flames games. So anytime you catch them, go ahead and watch them. Now, a surprise squad, the Winnipeg Jets with the Central Division, 5-0-0, the only undefeated team in the NHL as we speak. Though Gabriel Velarde, Mark Sheffley, and Kyle Connor are an explosive first line and a very formidable power play in the NHL. Then we go to the Metro Division, the Metropolitan Division of the Eastern Conference with the New Jersey Devils, the 5-2-1 squad. They have very good goaltending in Jake Allen and Jacob Markstrom, a 2.5 goals against average so far in the NHL. So this squad is going to be hard to score on. And in the Atlantic Division, our returning champion, Florida Panthers, 4-2-1. Sam Reinhart's 12 points, tied for first in the NHL as we speak. Florida putting up a good campaign so far in that Atlantic Division and in that Eastern Conference. Now, with a small serving size of all 32 teams, there's some surprises at the very bottom of some of these divisions, and we'll go over 4 teams. Now, what you must know about me, of course, wearing the Carolina Hurricanes shirt here with the Hartford Whalers emblem. If you know your history, you know exactly where that came from. But unfortunately, I got to talk about the woes of the Carolina Hurricanes, the home team. They're 2-2-0 right now. 4th most penalized team in the NHL, and that's not good, averaging over 5 minutes a game. But it's definitely not good when you have an 83% penalty kill, which is 13th in the NHL, which is not terrible. Some teams on the list that I'm about to read have a worse penalty kill than the Carolina Hurricanes. But when you're the most penalized team and you have more penalties to kill, it's scary for you. It's not good. So they're 19th overall offensively, and the goaltending has been an issue. Frederik Andersen has been banged up a little bit, so Peter Kochkov has had to come in, and he struggled about 3.55 goals against average so far this season. The defense has gotten a little older, and they need the younger players to step up. And now, the next squad, which is a squad that's had my heart in the beginning, the very first squad I went for, and that was the Colorado Avalanche. They're 2-4-0 right now. They were winless at one point in time, but they've been able to rattle off 2 victories in the past 2 games. They're dead last in goals against average per game. Second in the power play, 38.1, which is good. But with the bad goaltending and a 29th ranked penalty kill, that doesn't help. That erases that. And there's still a tough squad with Makar, Mikko, and of course the man Nathan McKinnon, who got that overtime goal. One of the game winners that he has, a clutch player. Colorado is still a good squad. There's still some room to grow. They just got to get better defending, and they have to get better goaltending. And the next squad, which is a big surprise because they were the runner-ups for the Stanley Cup last year, and they were looking for revenge. They're looking to get back into that championship game, and that's the Edmonton Oilers, who are 2-4-0 right now. And one issue that is very, very tough to talk about with the Edmonton Oilers, because they're such a good scoring squad, is that they have not scored well at all. The scoring has been an issue. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Hyman, that line is a very, very good scoring line. They've not been able to score, not been able to find the back of the net. Fewest goals in the league. Fewest goals in the league. And of course, with the man advantage, that's supposed to help you out, right? Not for Edmonton. 6.7 power play, which is 30th in the league, and their penalty kill is dead last in the NHL with 55%. Not only do they not score well, they allow the 27th most goals. No, 27th most shots. Sorry about that, in the NHL. There's more opportunities to score, more opportunities to get them to score. There's not enough opportunities for them to score. So, of course, you're giving up the most points and you can't score. Doesn't help you win games. And last but not least, the last surprise team, the Nashville Predators, which to me really isn't a surprise, considering the fact that in free agency, when you put a bunch of players together and you have a great free agency like the Nashville Predators had, you got to build chemistry, and that's something that this team does not have. Adding on Stamkos and Marchessault, getting big names on the squad to add to the players already with Nashville, they have put up no wins. They're the only winless squad. I know it's only 5 games. There's plenty more ground to cover, but not finding the chemistry early is not going to help. They've allowed the 2nd most goals, and they've scored the fewest goals, along with allowing the most shots per game. Just no chemistry on the squad. Looks like there's a lot of individuals out there playing So you've got some squads there that you got to worry about. You got some squads out there that are surprising. We're only in the thick of the season. There's plenty more games to go, which is going to make the NHL very, very exciting. Once again, I'm looking forward to it. Let's hope the Canes can get better. Let's hope those Colorado Avalanche can get a lot better. But on a good note, I did like seeing the Columbus Blue Jackets on their home opener. Pause for 13 seconds in memory of Johnny Gaudreau. Had 4 men out there, left that winger spot open for Johnny Gaudreau and pause for 13 minutes. And everybody stood to their feet. That was amazing. Rest in peace, Johnny Hockey. Prayers for the Columbus Blue Jackets. But let's have another great NHL season. That is your hockey NHL quick hits for this week. Now, before I begin this last segment here, which is going to be on baseball, and you'll understand why. I began podcasting, and when I began, I was a panelist. I was with MD on his wrestling podcast and Without a Pocket, and I enjoyed talking sports and being on a sports show and all the fun with it. I never really thought about having my own show until Mike told me, you should have your own show, you could do this. And when Mike went on this endeavor, betting on himself with Boom Broadcasting, and he said on there, Shannon's going to have a show. And I don't know if anybody saw my face on that episode of Out of Pocket, but I was worried because I had no idea what I was going to do for a show. This show actually was an idea, and I thought Mike was not going to like the idea, but he ended up loving it. So it was really cool, and I'm liking the way the show is progressing as we speak. I think I'm getting the hang of it. I might be, might not be. But I'm liking the fact that I have my own show. I was in a crossroads because I love Out of Pocket. I love being on the lives with Aaron Schneider and mouthing off with Mike and with MD as well, too. I love being a panelist, and I love being on a live show. It was really cool. I didn't want my show to be like Out of Pocket. I didn't want a show like Drop the Mic. I didn't want to copy somebody's idea. I wanted my own. And when I got the idea for Quick Hits, and then when I started looking at all the sports I wanted to cover, I started realizing that, hey, I got a little something here. So I'm very thankful for that. And I'm liking the fact of doing my show by myself. So it's actually pretty cool. I like it. But with this endeavor of podcasting and some of the people that I've met some really cool people, all the guys on Boom. I love them to death. I have fun. I enjoy this podcasting. I enjoy the people that I have been working with and the new people that I have met. And I really started thinking, do I want to do a podcast on my own the whole time? And so far I'm like, yeah. But for this segment, I got a great idea after having a great conversation with one of the guys affiliated with the show. I thought, why not it be great to have a guest? Someone who is invested and has loved an outcome of the World Series picture that we've got. And not only that, we've talked about everything from the WNBA because, of course, with him being from New York, the Liberty are in there. He's wanting the Liberty to win it. And of course, with the Yankees being in the World Series, he's excited and over the moon for it. And the New York Rangers, I'm a little worried about, because the New York Rangers beat out the Carolina Hurricanes last year in the playoffs. But you know what? That's cool. The Rangers are dope. They're a good team. So I got to give credit where credit is due. But the fact that he is so invested in the outcome here, and we're both invested in it because we talked about what we would want in a Yankees-Dodgers World Series and how great it is. And then he started talking about the significance of this. And I'm like, you know what? Let's do this for the show. And when he sent me what he had, when he sent me what he talked about and what he was going to say, I said, man, you know what? He's got to close the show. So I am honored. For the first time ever, I have a guest on Quick Hits. And I'm very honored to have this man here to give his analysis, to give his thoughts on the World Series that will be beginning on Friday. I am so flattered and thank him for his time. I thank you for being a great friend to the podcast. I thank you for being a great friend to Boom Broadcasting. And your show is great. One half of Sideline Savants, the fantasy football podcast. Wayne Thomas, the commissioner, and his co-host is going to be giving his analysis on Yankees, Dodgers, the World Series, and what it means to him, who's a native, by the way. He's a native of New York. He lives there. That's where he lives. So everyone, please welcome for the first time ever on Quick Hits, my distinguished guest to close out the show, Sideline Savants' own Jason New York Colenso. Take it away, brother.
Yankees versus Dodgers. Let's go. Dream matchup. Aaron Judge versus Shohei Ohtani. Bronx Bombers versus the Boys in Blue. East Coast versus West Coast. Nah, man, this is so much bigger than that. We are about to witness 100+ years of baseball lore converged into one series. This matchup is going to dig up everything all the way back to the beginning. Ruth Gehrig. Since Shohei and Judge are now mentioned in the same breath. Jackie Robinson breaking barriers. Reese Snyder, the move to LA. Berra, Mantle, Maris. Judge hitting number 62. Reggie Jackson, Mr. October. Derek Jeter, Mr. November. Lasorda, Hershiser, Valenzuela. 1988, Kirk Gibson's World Series home run. I can't believe what I just saw. The core four. The flip. Kershaw, Betts. The list goes on. It's fitting that in October, the ghosts of both of these franchises will be out in full force. Hell, I don't know if we really are going to understand what we're about to witness. I attribute this series to kind of like watching a movie with action, drama, suspense. It's going to have flashbacks and flash forwards. It's going to be in color, black and white, boom. A symphony of everything that was, is, and will be. Yankees versus Dodgers. Let's go.